Coming up on ParaTruth Reborn, I'll be talking to Jodi Livon about dead loved ones and how they guide us even from beyond.
Welcome to ParaTruth.
What's going on, ParaTruthers? Welcome to another episode of ParaTruth Reborn. My name is Justin. Tonight, we are excited to talk with Jodi Livon about dead loved ones guiding us. Jodi, welcome to ParaTruth Reborn.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited about this.
Yeah, absolutely. So I loved you on Jim Harold's show, so I loved it that much that I wanted to get you on here. But before we get into it, for anyone who is new to your work or has not heard of you before, how did mediumship first become part of your life?
So, mediumship was always part of my life. I could feel spirits and smell them and see them and all of this. I just didn't understand it. And when I did start to understand it, I didn't like it. So I ignored it. And when you're meant to do something, you can't ignore it for long. So as I always say, I learned that either I would have my intuition or my intuition would have me. And I started I was open to the psychic piece in high school, but I started becoming really more open to the medium piece after my grandma Faye died, because I trusted her so much and more than really anybody in the world. And so when she was out of the world and she connected with me, I felt like, okay, she loves me. I can feel what this feels like. It must be safe to connect with kind spirits. I called them ghosts at the time, kind spirits. And so I opened up more and more. And then I did more boundary work because that was really the thing. But before that, didn't study anything about ghosts, didn't want to talk about ghosts, couldn't stand having my hair pulled by ghosts, being tripped by ghosts, having them talk to me in my ear, even relatives before Faye died. Even relatives would try to talk me into it. Nope, 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 nope. And now I have boundaries about it, but it's yes.
Now, was there ever like this aha moment, like, yeah, this is something more than just my intuition?
There are many. So one of them is my Uncle Benny died, and I think his wife was Shirley, sorry, people on the other side. And we were at their apartment, me and my mom and my dad and all my cousins and my aunts and uncles, because they had this giant apartment in South Minneapolis. And they had so many tchotchkes, so many figurines from all over the world. They traveled. And they had other stuff like that. And people were trying to decide who got what. And the kids got to go at it. And my uncle was saying to me and my aunt, make sure Jim gets this. Make sure Denise gets that. Make sure Jeff gets that. So telling me who should get what. I'll never forget it. I was standing in a doorway, kind of leaning against it going, but I could feel that it was my uncle and my aunt because they had this special kind of love for each other and for their kids. And well, they're not their kids, but their nieces and their nephews. And so I just knew that's when I got and I wasn't afraid of that. I don't know why, but I wasn't. I just told everybody, here's what you're supposed to get. It's kind of fun bossing people around with a ghost in my ear.
Well, and I've been doing this for 20 years. You've been apparently doing this for 40 years. Something now, something that I still have a hard time understanding some of this stuff, but how has your understanding of mediumship changed over the years?
So I learned to understand the difference between a ghost and a spirit. So a ghost is a soul that did not cross over into the light after their body died. And it doesn't mean they don't get to, though. And a spirit is a soul that went into the light. So I think that understanding was a really big deal. And the other one was I didn't always have to interact with them just because they were trying to interact with me. And that I could turn it down, can't turn it off, but I could turn it down. And no disrespect to any spirits or ghosts, but I could tell them to buzz off. Really. If they were intruding on my boundaries, I can say no because it's our space. We get to have our space. So I stopped being so afraid. I did stop being so afraid. Now, when I'm writing in the middle of the night and one of them starts to go like this to me, which is not very often, but sometimes, I don't really like that.
It's concerning when they touch you, because it's happened to me being a cocky young paranormal investigator saying, "Hey, you're saying you're here, prove it." We were listening to a ghost box session and they caressed the back of my neck. I'm like, "Okay, yeah, they're here. I'm gonna go outside, guys. I'm good. I just need a minute." Um,
Because we like our space. We like our space.
right.
And they like theirs. And when we're in their space, sometimes they like us to know they don't like it.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I've learned more and more to be more respectful.
Oh, gosh.
I obviously was not back then. Um, Very much realized that provoking is not a good thing, not okay, especially since people have to live or work in the area that you're doing investigations or readings. So
We've
it's
evolved, right?
yeah,
We've evolved. We just keep evolving.
yeah. But yeah, to your point, I've gotten comfortable now where I'm like, just leave me alone. I don't, I can't do this right now. I'm working. I have to work. I'll try and figure something out later. And I'm still growing in all of that, because there are plenty of times that I don't know if it's my imagination. Is it, I'm picking up on stuff? Is it being, I'm very empathic, where to the point that I don't know if it's my feelings or somebody else's. So yeah, we are constantly evolving. And I've asked myself over and over again, if I would do it over again, would I open myself up? And I think every time I've said yes, because I've always had these questions of if I can do it, but also that people need validation when things are happening too. So,
Right. May I comment on the piece about, gosh, the spirit just jumped right into my head about the not knowing if it's you or someone else.
Mhm.
So I also experienced that. But because I've done this since I was a kid, I learned that if I really understand how I feel all the time, and most people don't want to do that because then you have to deal with your feelings that don't feel good. And none of us really want to do that. But if you know how you feel, then if all of a sudden you start to feel different, you know it's not you. Try it. I'd love to know if that works for you.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely experiment with that. Um, Now, talking about all of this, both of us being sensitive, do you believe that everybody has these abilities, or is it like only certain people?
I believe everybody has them, some more than others. So it's like there are people that are amazing at basketball. Most everybody can throw a ball, but not everybody can be so amazing at basketball. People that can speak can sing, but not always so beautifully. So we all have the ability. It's creative ability. It's the same energy as love and creativity. So I do, but some more than others. And I also believe if you abuse it, it can be taken away.
Yeah. I've felt that way for a very long time too. And I've had experiences when I was very, very young. And by very young, I'd say in my early teens to late teens.
That's young.
But to reopen myself, it was a completely different ball game, and I wasn't ready for it. I should have prepared myself better, but yeah, it's one of those things that there are people that believe that there are natural mediums versus those that have to work at it. Um,
So I believe everybody is psychic. I don't everybody. And I believe everybody is mediumistic, but I think it's more limited about who can really connect with spirits, except for our own
okay,
loved ones.
okay,
Everybody can connect with their loved ones. Excuse me, everybody. But people who can connect with spirit energy, I don't think that's as common as the psychic piece. but it can be.
Now, with that being said, there are people that can do both.
Yeah.
But for those that are just connecting with dead loved ones, or even either way, is it one of those things where they're there as kind of like a spirit guide, or are they just kind of coming back to check on us and guide us from a mistake like they would have been in the living?
So a lot of people believe that their guides are their dead relatives. I don't. I know that's not very popular. I believe our relatives can help us, but they're not a main guide. So they can come and give us some guidance and give us some support. But we also have this beautiful spiritual team that helps us, a divinely guided spirit team, like our guides and our angels and our loved ones from the other side can be a part of it, but they're not the main piece. But when you're going through something big, they often come back to help. And if, let's say, they were terrible at talking about how they feel and you're stuck talking about how you feel, they may come back to give you some support. They come back in those hours where they finish things that they didn't finish, and they also want to help you. So I miscarried. And my grandma Dolly, who uh, was not a real touchy feely person, came back to essentially hug my heart while I was going through one of the hardest things I'd ever gone through. So that's how they can come back. If you decide to write a book and you have relatives that were writers, they come back to give you a little guidance, but they're not always there. They're not watching you take a shower or make out with somebody. They're there in essence to help you. And besides, I believe that they can't really see us. They see our light. So it's not like they can see what we're wearing, but they can feel how we're feeling.
Okay. Now, are there any common signs that people get when loved ones are trying to reach out to them?
The biggest sign is, if you can really be aware of how you feel, is that you remember how you felt about that person. You remember what it was like to sit in a room with them or have a conversation with them, and you feel it in your heart. And so if all of a sudden you feel that, oftentimes they're there. Or if they wore a certain perfume or they loved a certain food, you might smell those things. Or if they played the piano beautifully, you might start to hear that. Sometimes you can hear your name or see them through your side vision. I can never say peripheral, right? So your side vision. They do that in all sorts of ways, countless ways. They'll show you they're there. License plates, pennies, so many things. But when you're going through something traumatic or joyful, you can feel them because you can really feel them when you're joyful. And sad, it's kind of out of the blue. It just hits you because, like, you know how you feel, and all of a sudden it's different. So I think it's limitless. It's just limitless.
All right. So we've got a couple listener questions here. The first one is, what is the difference between a psychic and a medium?
Great question. So a psychic or a psychic is somebody that can feel things and they can see things and they can hear things, etc. All the clears. And it's like a 6-lane highway with information coming in about what was, what is, and what may be. And a medium is that, and also more like a 12 or 14-lane highway because they can feel spirit energy and other energy, maybe other realms. So spirit energy as well. That's my definition and a popular definition of the difference. So all mediums are psychic, but not all psychics are mediums. And they're all good. It's all wonderful.
And I've heard both. Yeah, that there is one or the other, but you can't have one that's both. And I've obviously felt that I am both, but
You are both.
yeah, and it is hard to be both, to be honest with
It is. It is. I agree with you. It can be really draining.
you. Now the other one here is, are we supposed to get to know our spirit guides, or do they just support our out of love?
Whatever you want. Whatever you want. If you want to get to know them, you absolutely can get to know them, and you can ask them to send messages to you through dreams or through other people that somebody just might out of the blue start talking to you about something, or you might be guided to go into a particular spot and you keep seeing like a lot of people want a name for their guide. So you might keep seeing Fred. So then you relate to that, but you don't have to. Your guides are that if you read something to yourself and listen to that voice. That's the voice of your guides. And you don't know always that it's theirs because it's been with you for so long and it seems like you as well, but there's a different feel to it. Same voice, a little different feel.
Okay. We got a couple more here. So Michelle says, what do they do all day? If you die young, like my sister at 3 years old, is she growing up now? What do they do for 30 years, or do they reincarnate?
So it's my understanding that they get to have a life on the other side. That's what I've seen over all these years. They do get to grow up. They get to have their life on the other side. Of course, their deep loved ones aren't necessarily with them until it's their time to cross over. And they don't reincarnate essentially till you're on the other side as well. But here's the thing, there's a piece of our spirit that's always on the other side. So there's only a piece of us here. There's only a part of our spirit energy here doing this life, living this life. Another part is on the other side, helping you. That's your higher self. So there are times where people can reincarnate even if the rest of us are here because part of their soul is still there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we got another one here. What are we supposed to embrace about quantum physics?
Oh, gosh. I wish I could tell you I understand everything about quantum physics, but that nothing disappears. Everything turns into something else. Nothing just disappears. And so a person, when they die, when their spirit separates from their body, they go somewhere else. They still exist. Their body may go into dust, but nothing just vanishes. It just turns into something different.
Do animals stay animals when they die? Or baby souls, they stay babies?
So baby souls know that they were going to die, just so you know. And sorry about the person that sent a message about their 3-year-old sibling. That would be absolutely horrible. Babies know that they're going to die. And if they want to evolve into adulthood, they can absolutely do that. And animals, same thing. They just get to have this amazing energy on the other side. But when we cross over, we get to see them.
Okay. Let's see where we're at here. Do our guides change over time?
These are such great questions. So we all come in with one main guide. I call it our senior guide. And that guide has been with us through many lives and helps us do the outline of the life we're going to live so we can work through our karmic debt and have a lot of joy. And then there are junior guides that come in. So if we're going to go to nursing school or we want to be an electrician and we're going to school for that, a guide that knows something about that comes close to help us. So, and then when we're done needing that kind of help, another guide might come through. If you have a parent who has a degenerative disease and you need some guidance, which we all would and do, a guide that knows something about that, that can be a support, that maybe somebody that in many lives that they had were in medicine, some way they can help with the healing and helping you heal and helping you process that. So we have many guides, but one main guide. So through our life, we could have 3, 4 at a time, but also that one main guide stays helping orchestrate. This is all my understanding. I mean, other people might have a different view. This is my understanding over, doing this for so long and talking to so many dead people.
And it's funny that, even after 40 plus years of doing it, or even 20 plus years of doing it, we still don't have any more answers than when we first started, other than little tidbits here and there.
Exactly. And we can be wrong. I mean, we can be wrong. I just know how things feel to me and how strong they feel to me, but other people have different views, and that's okay. I don't argue with other people's views unless they say people suffer and they're worried about that when they cross over. And I say, I've never seen that. So I agree. Everybody can have different views. And that's the thing about doing a reading. You could have three people, three psychics, three mediums doing a reading right next to you. We're going to see maybe similar things, but we're going to identify it differently because it goes through the lens of our own experience in our life.
It's all about interpretation. I mean, even tarot, like everybody questions if tarot is a very good tool, and it can be, but same situation. One person is going to interpret the cards one way, another person's going to interpret them completely different or similar, but there will be some inconsistencies.
Exactly. No, everything should be empowering though. If you have a reading and you don't feel empowered, I don't think that was a good reading. Even if you're doing really bad, naughty things, somebody that does a good reading will help you see that what you're doing isn't helping you or other people and help you find a way through it so you don't do that. That's my opinion. That's what I've done in my readings.
Right. Now, do dead loved ones tend to show up more during grief, big life changes, or moments of danger, or is it just kind of random?
During moments of high emotion, they often show up. Joy is a huge one. Like people take pictures and they see a little orb in the picture. Their loved one is there smiling during danger. But the thing about the during danger is if you think you hear a relative say, do this and it doesn't make sense, don't do that because it might be just the voice of your fear. I always run it through the follow your heart, trust your gut, and use your head. So if I get this really big intuitive feeling and I'm in the middle of something that's very, this is not good, I can run it through that as fast as I can because when you're scared, your head, you might ignore what your head is saying, but your head needs to be heard too.
Right. Now, I've asked this probably to a lot of different people, mediums. Do you feel that communication is always happening, but the majority of the population don't notice it because of life, being busy, being grief stricken, those types of things?
I do believe it's happening all the time. So when someone crosses over, it takes time for them to acclimate and do the life review, etc. But in general, there's spirit energy everywhere all of the time. But we're not in tune with it in part because we're not supposed to be. We're supposed to be living our lives and the here and now and doing what we can to bring light to our soul and bring more color to our soul. But there is spirit energy everywhere, and it can be very tiring for a medium, which I'm sure you can attest to.
Mm, absolutely. Um, I miss sleep sometimes because somebody wants to try and be at my face. Like I don't know how many times I've had, and maybe you haven't had this, maybe you have, but I'll be either trying to go to sleep or kind of in that haze of falling asleep, and then a bright light flashes in front of my eyes, and I open them to make sure there's no lights on, and then I'm like, leave me alone. I am trying to sleep. Please just let me sleep. We will try and address this in the morning if I remember.
That's so great because you're a light. You're very lucky you're a light. I know you've done work to get there, but that's why light spirits try to get a hold of you. If they were dark, ugh. But
Yeah.
you do have to say, not now. This is my home, my space, my body. I need my own energy and I cannot share it right now. And you need to take a blessing and leave.
Yeah. Well,
Or
and
whenever you say.
there was I've told a couple of people this. There was a few years ago, I woke up um feeling like there was somebody in the room. I didn't have the light in the face or anything like that. And I woke up and I'm like, okay, there's nobody here that I can see. Went back to sleep. When I woke up, I had I believe it was this hand, two dark dots on both sides of the webbing of my finger. And I've had a couple people tell me that that was them giving me a taste of what I can do myself. Um, by the meaning of that is when that happened, I had no pain in my knees like I usually do. My anxiety went away. Um, and I didn't have any fear from any of it.
Lovely.
Um, and so a couple of different medium friends of mine have said, well, one said, well, they're extraterrestrial, but they're no longer in the physical. And another friend said something similar. So that's one of the things too, like if we think about interdimensional, extraterrestrial, um, there's been so many things now where it's fallen under a certain umbrella. Do you feel that in the paranormal field, we tend to put too many things under like a specific category?
I do, because we don't understand. And the more broad it is, the more we feel like, okay, now we can control this, we understand this. But the more we study it, I mean, I know I need to study it more, the more we'll be able to understand, like the difference between a psychic and a medium, same thing. To go look at the different energies that can come to us from other dimensions. It's always, be honest with you, it scared me. It has scared me. It still scares me. And that means I need to learn more about it, because I've encountered certain things. I didn't know what that was. And when you were just telling the story about the black dots, totally correct about it being from, I don't know what even I say other realms, but that's just, I don't know, ET can be
Yeah.
ET, but I feel like it's other realms that are further from where our friends are in spirit. That's
Right.
how I see it.
Well, and the way I
Over.
think of ETs, extraterrestrials, are anything that is not of this world or this reality. So we can define it however we want, but yeah, it's kind of all the same in a
I
sense.
like that. That's very empowering.
Yeah. And people will argue, and that's fine, but a lot of the times we don't know. We still don't know what is really happening. Even as a psychic medium, yeah, we're talking to things that nobody else can see, but is it our dead loved ones? Is it just something from the other side masking as a dead loved one? We don't know for sure. We can speculate and say, yes, this is what they're communicating to us. But
I agree. And also, just to piggyback, but to add something to that, I think when my grandma Faye came to me a long time ago, I could feel her love. And so when I'm doing a reading and I can feel love like that, then I feel like for sure it's somebody from the other side that loves the person I am doing a reading for. But when I do things on the radio, um, I'm on a great show often called KS95. It's a radio show in the morning in the Twin Cities. And I do tons of readings, and they're boom, 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 boom. And I hear that I'm on, but it's not as strong as doing a one-on-one. It's strong then gone, because then there's another reader or another person to be read. So if I didn't get the feedback, I wouldn't be 100% positive. I can feel it in my belly, but the feedback says it's right, but it's so quick. Sometimes I think, well, thank goodness they say that, overall pretty right on. Or I do these things on Twin Cities Live, the show that I'm on in the Midwest, and it's shorter readings, but they're sitting in front of me, and I can feel their reaction, and I can feel when I'm right, because I can feel it in their belly.
okay. All right, we are going to take a quick break from our support sponsor, and we will be right back with you guys.
A quick thank you to our supporting sponsor, Nodakian Studios. Looking for something truly one of a kind? Nodakian Studios creates high-fired ceramics, better dishwasher, microwave, and food safe. Every mug, bowl, vase, bottle, and planter is wheel thrown and hand decorated, making each piece unique. They also offer pottery classes for all skill levels. Whether you're touching clay for the first time or looking to expand your artistic skills. Nodakian Studios, where craftsmanship and creativity come together. Find out more at nodakianstudios.com.
All right, folks, welcome back. And now a lot of people seek out mediums because they're grieving. Someone has passed. There's a lot of unfinished business. How do you approach that responsibility when somebody comes to you with that?
I love that you said responsibility because it's so huge. You hold their heart in your hand. Well, the first thing is I don't really like to do a reading on anyone who has just lost somebody because they have to get used to the energy of that person in a different way. They do their energy signature is different than when they had a body, and they need to grieve and not get addicted to mediums, which I think a lot of people do. And I approach it gently and I say, I'm interpreting the things that I'm interpreting. They're not always going to come when I do a reading. I don't call the dead. I just am aware when they're around. And to know that those on the other side, I don't know that I've ever met somebody who was ticked off at somebody here. Like that just doesn't exist, nor are they about to say where they buried the money, you know? So it's more like resolving things that they didn't get to resolve, saying things that they never got to say. There are a lot of people, different generations and generations now, who didn't really ever say, I love you. I think I probably overdo it with my family because I always say I love you because you never know you never know if that's the last time you're going to talk to them or if I'm going to be gone. So things that you didn't get to hear from your loved one, they like to bring that. And I've done readings on many people who are victims of different kinds of abuse. And that spirit will talk to me about that abuse and apologize for it. I have to be very careful with that because I don't want to trigger anybody. So I'm very careful with that. They want to help you feel better. They not only want to help relieve themselves of the heaviness of some of the burden of things they did, they want to make you feel better. And I think that's a very beautiful thing. So I approach it very carefully and with lots of love and reverence for those on the other side. I feel like when I'm doing a one-on-one reading, it's not just one because there are spirits and I'm there for them too, just as much. Did I answer your question?
Yeah. Now, I appreciate that you will not do a reading for somebody who their loved one has just passed away because it can be very fresh and it will not help them if you're doing a reading and it's fresh in their mind. But have you ever had a moment where it helped somebody move through their grief in a healthy way?
Oh, many, many, many moments like that. That's a good question. Many, many moments because so for instance, if you feel bad that you weren't there when your loved one dies, that person will come give certain information to help you understand that it was okay. Because it's hard to let go like that, and people choose who's with them overall. Their soul does. And it isn't to say they didn't love you, because sometimes it's they didn't want you there because it was too hard to leave you. And I've never really met anyone on the other side that says they should have done it differently, because from their standpoint, they get to view the whole book. They don't just see the little chapters, they see the whole book. They see so much more, they know so much more. So they're not mad. I mean, maybe they're not as evolved. Some spirits are more evolved than others, and quite frankly, the ones that are not overly evolved, they don't get through my boundaries, and they don't get through I call them my bouncers, my guides.
Now, we've got so many listener questions, and I want to make sure I get to a lot of them. One of them is this was from our Facebook group. One of the listeners has had dreams where she's looking for her deceased husband, and it's happened multiple times, and she's wondering what they mean and why he hasn't come to communicate with her.
So that's a very moving dream. I have the chills. So if you are experiencing the same dream and you're looking for them, and is that what they're saying? Is that they're dreaming and they can't
Yeah, they
find
were
them?
looking for them. Yes. Yep.
Yes. So that's because they don't really know how to sense their energy or them in the real realm that they're in. So they're working through the fact that they cannot connect in the same way. And it's a good way to work it through because eventually it'll be like, oh, this is what your energy signature is like. Because they're busy on the other side, but they do get to come visit when we're ready and they're ready. So chances are really, really, really good that their loved one is trying to get through. But some people think it's supposed to be like the sign boo on the mirror, like in Ghost, the movie Ghost. Well, have you seen the movie Ghost? Some people maybe haven't. Um, or it's that they're gonna see just pennies, or they're gonna say, all right, make firecrackers go off at noon. But it doesn't work like that. They do it in the way they can do it. You have to be open to what that might be, and it will feel a certain way. And that's how you'll know.
It's funny you bring up the movie Ghost because my wife, she's our sponsor. She owns the necking studios and she's a ceramicist. And in all of her classes, she'll tell everybody, we're not going to ghost it out. I'm not going to get behind you like Patrick Swayze. I will just show you on the other side on how it's.
That.
Now we got another question here. Is having past lives true?
Yes. 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 Past lives, many past lives. We've had many past lives, and we will have more of them as we live through these lives because it helps our soul grow. We want to come back, and most of the time, and be with the people that we love and experience the things that we experience and work through our karmic debt. I 100% believe that. And I will say, I remember being 2 years old in my crib thinking about past lives. I know that sounds really strange, but I've told my parents about that many years ago. I'm like, the crib looked like this. This is what happened. Then you came in and I was singing, and they're like, I remember that.
Hmm. Can you talk about soul families?
So, our soul family isn't necessarily the family that we were born into by blood, adoption, those kinds of things. Our soul family is families that are souls that we have gone through many lives with, that we learn with, that support us. Sometimes they in this life might hate us because that's what they're supposed to do. And we keep coming back with them. They're this familiar, you meet them and they seem so familiar. And there's something very meaningful that they do in your life. And even if you only knew them for a few years and those memories remain, that was part of your soul family. So it's this group of souls that you keep coming back with. Think of it as a soul click.
Okay. And it's, I've heard people explain things like this, but I've never heard it called a soul family. So that's very fascinating to me. And I've had plenty of people where it's like, we've done this before, and
Like a deja vu.
right. Yeah. Or just, I know you. I don't know how I know you.
Your
Um,
soul recognizes them.
yeah. So that's interesting. Another one here. What is spiritual warfare, or is there such a thing?
So this is my understanding. Again, could be wrong. But spiritual warfare is when you are attacking somebody spiritually and they're attacking you. Groups of people, just the two of you. That's my understanding. I could be wrong. But it's a war of spirit between groups, between people, just individuals. It's like this battle on another level. That is my understanding. Is that your understanding?
Yes and no. I believe that there are things that attack us from the other side, but
Oh.
I also believe that it it's our own belief system that causes us to feel that way. Um,
I think there's a lot of truth in that. I was picked on as a kid, and that gave me the more of the oomph to tell a spirit or a ghost, really, to buzz off. And you have to be able to say, no, this is no. And there are spaces where there's more of that and you don't really want to be in that because it's really draining. But this is our life. This is our turn to be here. This is our body. And I know I keep saying that, but we have some power over that. Not 100%, but we have some real power over our lives, truly.
Well, and I'm glad you bring that up because that'll bring us to this next question here is there such a thing as life paths, or do we make our own destinies? Is there anything to free will, I guess, is the better.
There's everything to free will. I love these questions. I do believe there's a life path that we created before we came, but it's not one path. It's like there's many forks in the road, and you decide which ones you want to take. And that is what helps you evolve as a soul. Free will reigns completely, but your higher self decided certain things about your life here. You know, what you would look like and what your body would be like. And there's certain things that you were going to go through that would help you grow. But then throw in a bunch of other things. You know, you make different decisions and it takes you on a different trajectory. It's free will reigns.
Well, and that's the funny thing too is that I've talked to numerous people about this, and I always come back to the saying of that people always want to say, well, why the hell would I choose what's going on right now in my life? And most people don't understand that we have multiple situations that we have to live through for lessons throughout our lifetimes, multiple.
Yeah.
So in your opinion, is that kind of this what's going on? We're just trying to hit all of the main lessons that we need to learn.
Yes. Yes. And some people try to bypass it, but we are. You know, I I love the whole law of attraction. I love all the things about it, but there's a lot of interpretations I don't believe in. And so part of that is about the life path. So I am a breast cancer survivor, and I had people that I didn't think were being very wise that said, you know, you deserved that or you chose that. Well, A, nobody deserves something like that. And B, on before I came here, that was one of the things that I was going to do. That wasn't like my thoughts were creating that here. This is one of the big things. So when people lose a child or a spouse or something happens and they can't walk, it's not like they chose that. This was something that was part of what was going to happen in their life. They didn't do anything wrong. I really wanted to say that.
Now, this is another one from our group, and I've been thinking about this one and thinking about this one because we kind of mentioned it earlier, that we're not really sure definitively if there's something other than family members, loved ones, spirit guides coming through that are giving us messages. But the question is does a medium actually believe that they communicate with people who have passed on, or do they believe that God has anointed mediums to relay these communications?
Both. So God said, this is an ability that you're going to have. You got to do good with it. And I communicate with spirits to help people resolve things on both realms. So I wanted to be a medium. I'm not sure if I'm answering that question correctly, but everything good and everything full of light and love is part of that higher power of God. So I do believe that this was an ability I was given to do good things with. If I didn't do good things with it, I wouldn't have it.
Right. Well, yeah, that answers it pretty much. But you also believe that we are getting these messages from loved ones. It's not necessarily God saying that.
I'm glad you clarified that. Yes. I mean, I would like to say I got a hotline to God. I feel like I have a really good connection, but I feel like I was given these abilities to hear spirits, to help those spirits and to help the people. But I don't feel like I've got this big hotline, and that would be really lovely. I actually pray for that a lot.
Now, last one from our Facebook group here. Are dreams, deja vu moments, or visions, etc., just a part of a person's conscious that are intended for each individual to define? Or is that something that is more of a like a spiritual communication, or kind of both?
Okay, so I'm highly dyslexic, so I flip all these questions around. So I truly do. So, and I think a lot of people that are really sensitive have some sort of a learning thing. So deja vu means this has happened before. So take one question at a time and I'll whip them through really quick.
Okay, so it's our dreams, deja vu moments, or visions. Is it just something that our conscious is intended to define individually?
We can define it individually. We can. I don't think I'm answering this correctly because I'm not connecting with the question. I'm sorry. When dreams can be a psychological thing and they can be a spiritual thing. But we don't define which is which. They just are. Does that make sense? They just are. And deja vu, that means this has happened before. That's your soul saying, heads up, this has happened before. And when you get something precognitively, like a hit and run, something that comes to you, that means it's a heads up for your soul to be able to deal with it. Am I answering this correctly?
Yeah. I think basically what they're asking is are all of those things just a part of our psyche, like making us question things, or is it like a spiritual communication thing?
It's a soul thing.
Yeah.
It's a soul thing.
Um, th- the way that it was worded, yes, I agree. It was a little confusing, but I think that's what they were asking is
Yeah.
really
Good question too. Yeah.
yeah. Um, Now, for someone listening who wants to be more open to signs from their loved ones, where should they start?
With themselves. You have to know how you feel. And if you can work through some of that top garbage that you've been holding in, you're more open because all your intuition is based on how you feel. It's that language of intuition based on all of how you feel. So you'll learn to get the signals from those on the other side and your intuition because it'll come through your five senses. So if you always did something like drink coffee with your mom and you think she's coming through because you taste coffee, you're probably right. So you have to know how you feel. And then when you get an insight, honor it.
That hits very much home to me because there are multiple times that I smell black and milds, nobody's smoking around me. And when my grandfather used to smoke, he smoked black and milds. So I always remember that that's him.
Yeah.
So, there are times that I smell like cigarette smokes and stuff like that. And I'm like, it's not the same smell. It can't be the same person. I don't know who it is usually, but yeah. So thank you for bringing that up because that just validates for me that I'm understanding what I'm
For sure.
feeling. Now, should people ask their loved ones for a sign, or is that kind of like forcing the interaction?
I feel like it's okay to ask for a sign. I really do. Ask for a sign. Just don't be rigid about what that sign might be. You know, Many times people come in and said, I asked when I was doing a reading, I asked for my loved one to give me specific words and you're not giving them to me. And I described their loved one, even got their name, how they died, but they wanted to hear the word abracadabra. Don't limit things. Then you're limiting yourself and you don't get enough of the interaction. So just be open-hearted.
So what you're basically saying is like something that I've always been told is if you want communication, ask for something specific like I make me find coins and not coins like American coins that I would never see. Is that not how we should be doing it?
So you can be specific if you want, but you might be really disappointed. That's why I'm saying just open your heart because you'll feel it. You can say coins would be lovely. License plates would be lovely. A song would be lovely. just help me to recognize that sign and not think anything and everything is a sign. And when you start to kind of sink into how you feel and how much you love them, that's really a big deal. If you can really feel how much you love them. And you know when spirits really like to visit us the most is when we're in a place of joy. That's where they find us.
That's awesome. And I hope that they're around more for the joyous times than the hard ones. I mean, not that I wouldn't want the hell. Now, I love hearing the answer to this question. For any skeptics out there that want to say, mediumship is just a coincidence, it's not real, they're feeding off of your body language, what you're telling them. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, I'm not that smart to feed off of those things and to read that. I mean, I think I'm pretty smart, but I'm not that smart. And that means they're just not ready for it. So when someone says, prove it to me, I don't need to prove anything. The process itself proves itself. So I get people are skeptic, and I think that's to have a healthy skepticism is great. You should believe everything, but you got to be open to the possibilities. And there is no such thing as a coincidence. It's all meant to be the way that it is. It's all a sign.
Now, what role does trust play in receiving messages? And I say that as much for myself as people that are wanting those communications, because I honestly have the hardest time trusting in what I'm getting.
I think that's a huge piece to be able to trust that you're really getting what you need to be getting. And you have to be pretty much of a clear conduit to understand it. And when you're opening it up, and even way after you've opened up, there are yucky energies that try to connect. But if you keep raising your vibe and you're in a better space, they can't touch you. They can't touch you. So you don't tell somebody this is for sure true. You say, this is my feeling about what's happening. And I would love it if you'd come back and tell me if that worked for you. And the more you get that validation, the more you trust. So, and there are a lot of people who do not want to own their stuff. They just don't. I mean, all of us at times don't want to own our stuff. And I know when I do a reading, I'm nailing people right at the heart of it, because that's my personality. Your personality comes out in a reading, what's important to you. And people don't always want to own it. And I'm kind about it, but I feel like we stand in our own way so much. And I want to help people loosen that. Not because I want to be right, because I'm really willing to be wrong. I am. I'm wrong. There's times I'm wrong in every way. But you want the process to help loosen people up and open up their heart. And if that's where you're coming from, that helps you trust more that you're doing that.
Now, if someone is listening tonight and grieving and hoping their loved one is still with them, what would you tell them?
I would say, I'm so sorry you lost somebody. And please know how loved you are, and know that your loved one is okay. That they were offered a light, and most every spirit takes that, and that they are being held in the arms of those that loved them, and that they are safe, and that you will feel their presence when you're open to it in some odd way, even through an animal, a lot of times through an animal, and that you will see them again. And you should enjoy your life because they get to feel those joys. They get to experience those joys with you. And again, you'll find them more easily when you feel that joy and you feel that love. Might make you cry a little, but that's okay.
Okay. It is about that time to let you go. So I want to give you the chance to tell everybody where they can find you, find your work. The mic's all yours.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. This has been a lot of fun. I have a website, theintuitivecoach.com. I'm a writer. I have 2 books. They're Happy Medium series, actually 3, because I participated in another book on Amazon and some bookstores. And I'm on social media. So look for Jodi Livon, Jodi Livon, the Happy Medium. I love when people connect with me that way. And I'm on Substack. So if you're going to pick one, pick Substack.
I have just started one, so I'm absolutely going to start using it more.
It's fun. And YouTube. YouTube's the best. So I'm on YouTube too, as you are.
Yep. All right, Jodi, thank you for being on ParaTruth Reborn.
Thank you.
All right, folks, make sure you check out Jodi Livon and all of the things she's doing. She's doing a lot of great things in our community. Now, we asked our ParaTruther community group, have you ever felt guided by a loved one who has passed? 26% said yes, absolutely. 37% said maybe, but not sure. And 37% said no, but I'm open to the idea. Until next week, folks, where you'll find us same time, same channel. My name is Justin. Talk to you guys later.